And the government know what they are doing. They know if they want to stop people from coming, they know what they will stop. They will close the embassies in those countries and stop receiving applications. So let's not deceive ourselves. They know what to do. What they will do is they go to Nigeria. No, we are not more receiving applications from Nigeria. Simple as that. But they know what they are doing. If you go to the statistics, go to uk.gov.uk website, you find out that people who are on benefits, 70% of them are white British people. The migrants here are working and making huge contributions to the economy. They are paying their taxes, they are working hard, sustaining the critical sectors, the NHS, and so on. This Nigel Farage, who is talking about removing this ILR, I will tell you, he and Boris Johnson, they created the migration crisis of these small boats crossing in the UK.
Why are they refusing immigrants from getting ILR? No, just picture it here.
Yeah.
If they are living permanently without having access or recourse to public funds, definitely they will not be telling them to go and renew. They're trying to drag them away from that. That has been what the argument. They don't, it's not that they hate they hate immigrants from staying here. They just don't want immigrants to have access to their public fund. They just want to live for Britons alone. That is just the only thing I'm seeing here. Something I want to say, if we're deliberating on this and the upcoming election, reformers made themselves know that if they get into power, that this is what they're going to do.
So people have the choices.
You have the choice not to vote for them.
We're here again at Glasscast podcast. We are doing a freestyle episode today. We call it freestyle, but we actually want to, keep update with developments in the news. Remember, earlier in the week, we got a kind of some people got some panic, some people got some kind of shock, doubting the status of their indefinite leave to remain in the UK. When that discussion came that, ILR needs to be scrapped for the government to save money. Moving ahead with that, we came to also understand that we are going to be issued digital ID card. And a lot of conversation that have been taking place, within the social and political realm. So it's important, we do this episode to kind of resonate on our initial discussion on the status of UK ILR in response to the white paper that was published by the UK government, which has a significant implication for those that came to the UK legally to either study, work, join family, and enjoy social and family life in the UK. So on this note, I want to welcome us once again to Glasscast podcast. Remember, we have discussions here that are issue-based. We look at the fact and we look at available evidence. We are not here to inform policy or to throw political tantrum, but we are here to look at issues and, share ideas that will benefit us here and whoever that is out there, like you that have been following some of our discussions, so that you can benefit from it. I wouldn't give us too much sermons, because one reverend father in my village those days said that, when you come to the evening mass, that we need to cut it a bit short. So I want to introduce your usual crew members here. Starting from myself, I'm Dr. Eze. And besides me is the double doc, Dr. Awomoku. Doc, you're welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much. I have you guys on Glasscast podcast, so it's nice to be here once again after the last some episodes ago I appeared on. So
Yeah.
Nice to have you guys.
So today you are safe because doctor is not coming to tell you about DNA and paternity fraud. All right, and we also have the elder, the son of Glasscast, elder doctor Oscar Nliam. So we have a team of doctors in the studio today. Doc, you're welcome.
Thank you so much, Dr. Eze. Always a pleasure. I mean, let's see what we can do today.
Yeah. Well, we're having I believe we are going to have a very interesting conversation.
We'll do justice to the discussion, but sometimes my views are probably not very acceptable ones, but they are the truths and the hard facts.
Well, as far as we share fact and we learn from it, that is why we're here, and that is what Glasscast is all about. And the team, the technical team behind the camera, they also agree with this position. So we work together, to share ideas that are critical, ideas that would help us to stimulate our thinking process, our thought process on developments around us. So again, I'd like to welcome you, our subscriber, you are our guest as well, and our viewers. We've always seen your comment, we've always seen your engagement with the topics we bring on. Do well to, inform your friends and families to also join these important discussions that we have by following our page, subscribe to our page, like our page, also engage with our page, share your comment, and we would come back and look at them and see where we can forge further discussions. Doc.
Yeah, I think in the last few days, the discussion that has been everywhere in the media is the head of the Reform UK party, Mr. Nigel Farage, who said that he wants to abolish indefinite leave to remain in the UK. I keep in mind that indefinite leave to remain is a path to citizenship. So what he wants to do is to scrap that so that you would not people who do not have indefinite leave to remain or who have limited leave to remain in the UK, as is generally called. For if you are still under any visa, you still have a limited leave to remain. To make sure that they don't get to that part of indefinite leave to remain, then the next step will be naturalization and the British passport, of which I know you guys know my position about that. I've said it before and I'm not going to say it. I'm going to say it again, that a British passport or indefinite leave to remain in the UK is not a ticket to heaven. I maintain that. I will have said it over and over again. But he's saying that he's going to abolish that step. Even when you come here you're a legal migrant, you come here, if you stay, your visa runs out, you have to apply for, continue to renew your visa forever. That's the implication of what he said. But what I want to say is that that statement was made in their national party conference, at the annual party conference. Is to me is laughable and is I'll call it a joke. The man likes to be in the news, and anytime he's stepping out of the news, he wants to say something that will still keep him in the news. Today we've been talking about him, Nigel Farage, because of the comments he made. One, I don't know how many number of MPs he has in the in the parliament.
He has about six
MPs.
yeah.
Good. He has only 6 MPs in the parliament. He is not even the official opposition. He's not anywhere near that.
Yes,
we have the Conservatives who are the official opposition. We have the Lib Dems that have about 70
plus MPs,
MPs in the parliament. So what he's saying is just to make headlines and to make people talk about him. One, general election is not around the corner. It's only another 4 years before we have another general election, and he has to win the general election first. Then to make this his statement, a policy statement, then talk of next stage of passing it into law. So I see it as a cloud chasing, attention seeking, and to no avail. That's just it. But then we still need to get into further down the discussion. I know we'll get into the details of the importance and the merits or disadvantages of the indefinite leave to remain in the UK and how it impacts the British economy. But to me, I think people shouldn't worry about that. But I say that with caution, because sometimes when people start making statements, political parties start making statements, and when they weigh it and see it's attracting, when the government in power sees, because they have posters who conduct opinion polls on those kind of things. So when they weigh it and see that it's gaining traction and people are buying into it, you'll be surprised that they might want to tilt in that direction, because I hear each of them accusing the other of stealing our policy and stealing our manifesto. So Nigel Farage might be, giving the other major parties something to think about, or policies that may want to go in that direction. But again, this morning we had what Keir Starmer said. He said it was immoral and racist.
With what the Prime Minister Keir Starmer says, like you said earlier, those statements, even the statement of the Prime Minister, should be taken with caution, because they say this today and they come out, they say something else. But having said that, Nigel Farage, as important as he is in British politics today, you would agree with me that if you look at the poll, like you mentioned, he's leading in the poll. Doc, do you have anything to say about that?
Yes, probably Nigel Farage himself, leading the Reform Party themselves. As you can see, honestly, whatever he says, the immigrants themselves are not the ones to decide. Majority of the people doing this are probably to decide, the British, probably. So there was an opinion poll by YouGov, and I'm sure there was a split between those people agreeing that the people who have indefinite leave to remain, there's this opinion poll asking people whether they will be able to issue ILR, indefinite leave to remain, to people who are going to apply in the future, or then there's also an opinion poll asking whether they'll strip indefinitely from people that have already applied, that have already gotten there. So I'm sure a lot of them agreed, if I'm trying to say, but I think I have
what did they agree to?
Permit me to. Okay. I don't have the figures I have, but I'll be able to take a look at the website itself, and they actually talk about that. So as you can see, they said with 44% supporting the measure and 43% opposing it. I mean, people who oppose
scrapping of
proposing of to end ILR. So, but however, a majority of 58% oppose removing ILR starting from those who already hold it. So probably a majority of people are against, removing ILR from those people who already have it, and the 29% in support of stripping permanent residents from current holders. You understand? So the people who actually have a current residence, 29%, the people are in support of stripping. So probably it's lower. So probably people are kicked against it. So those people already have it, already gotten it. The majority of them say you can continue with that because of the policy might affect. But if we dive deeper into that particular statistic, this is just the major highlight. You'll be able to see some of the statistics where they actually said here. Let me be able to give a breakdown of what we actually got here. This is directly from their website. And they say if indefinite leave to remain were abolished, most Britons think that there should be exception for most groups asked about. So there are a group of people themselves that they think that they should actually consider that the heavyweight of the deny them ILR should not be on them. So they said for people who have lived in Britain for over 20 years, they voted in agreement that they should be allowed to stay, give them ILR. So only 12% voted against that. And people who are in full-time work and paying taxes, 64% voted they should stay, they should be given ILR. Only 26% voted against it. Now, this has nothing to do with the parliament. This has to do with the people's opinion. And people who have lived in Britain for over 10 years, 62% voted in favor, only 22% voted against. And people who are working in the NHS, 62% voted in favor of those people, and 28% voted against them. People who are married to British citizens, 61% voted in favor, and 26% voted against that. Then another one is people who have set up businesses in the UK. 58% voted in favor, and 28% voted against. And people who have children who are British citizens, we actually have 54% voted in favor, and we actually had 1% voted against. Then next one is people who are retired. So 49% voted in favor of them, and 26% voted against them. And people who have fled the war in Ukraine. Now there's a split here. 44% voted in favor of them, 43% voted against. People who cannot work because they are disabled, 39 voted in favor and 29% voted against. No, sorry, 16% voted against. Then there was a split. I'm sorry, that's 29% voted against and the 16% were split. So they were indecisive. So from what we're seeing, it's like there are still people voting in favor for people to remain in the UK. This based on opinion poll, but there was a very big split on the people, the Ukraine people who are coming here seeking refuge for them to have ILR. So probably they really want them to leave on the aspect of that.
Doc, let me take off from there.
Sure.
Make no mistake about that. The United Kingdom is a country built on immigration.
Yeah.
The London Underground were built by immigrants. The NHS, the manufacturing, the agriculture is dependent heavily on immigration, migrants to do this work. And the government know what they are doing. They know if they want to stop people from coming, they know what they will close the embassies in those countries and stop receiving applications. So let's not deceive ourselves. They know what to do. What they will do is they go to Nigeria. No, we are not more receiving applications from Nigeria. Simple as that. But they know what they are doing. If you go to the statistics, go to uk.gov.uk website, you find out that people who are on benefits, 70% of them are white British people. The migrants here are working and making huge contributions to the economy. They are paying their taxes. They are working hard, sustaining the critical sectors, the NHS, and so on. This Nigel Farage, who is talking about removing this ILR, I will tell you, he and Boris Johnson, they created the migration crisis of these small boats crossing in the UK. Yes, I'll tell you.
I like to know. I like to know.
Now let me tell you this thing.
Yeah.
Before Brexit, Britain was in the EU. They have a common agreement.
Okay.
And under international law, if you want to claim asylum, and the first country you touch, if there is no persecution and you serve there, is where you are supposed to claim asylum.
Okay.
Right. Now, they have gone out of they have this agreement with the EU. If you are coming from France, you cannot come to the Britain and claim asylum. They can easily send you back there because of the agreement they have with the EU. You can go there and claim asylum. So people who are not coming from France, crossing the channel and the small boats coming here to claim asylum in the UK because they know that once they touch down here, they can easily send them back here. Now, they have pulled them out from EU. They cannot return them again to France because they don't have that agreement. So it's even the French people who are encouraging them.
Yeah, because
when they get to the small boats, they will even put them, just give the boat a small lodge and you cross over to the UK and they will return them there legally because they have pulled out and they've created this crisis and he's now thinking of how he could strip people who are legally residing in this country their legal rights to the contribution they are making in this country, to the taxes that they are paying, to sustaining the critical sectors of the economy that they are sustaining. And the migration issue is always a roller coaster something. I recall before 2008, it was easy for people to come here. They had all sorts of schemes. They had the HSMP, highly skilled migrant, and so on. So each time they need people, they know what to do. When they feel that they have had enough, then they now start plugging one hole or the other. So let's not worry so much about Nigel Farage. He's not going to go too far as far as I'm concerned.
Well, this conversation is getting interesting. Because Doc, most of what you said, kind of resonate, a kind of a thought process. If I should argue, or one should argue against some of the things that the top politicians are saying. Because when you said if they don't want people if they don't want immigrants, they will close down the embassies. And
not closing down the embassy, they can stop receiving application.
Exactly. And you're not, people are not coming, closing on immigrants.
I don't think it's all about receiving immigrants here. Immigrants will come. Their problem with them giving ILR. ILR is not the major thing is not about immigrants not coming. They really need immigrants. The problem is the ILR. And what are they fighting against? They're fighting against benefits.
Okay.
Now look at where their problem is. They are looking at it like, they started some of these after the Brexit. They started allowing immigrants, especially in the healthcare sector, NHS and all the rest, to come in here to work for them, because probably most of us worked here during the COVID lockdown. And you find out that they are now discovered that the time that we had these EU people coming here, not all of them coming here to claim benefit. They actually just have, that free access to come here to work. Now, if someone is needing a visa to come into the UK to work, the person needs to live here for 5 years and get indefinite leave to remain. So getting indefinite leave to remain means that you now have access to public funds. So that's where the problem is. It's not all about them staying here permanently. If there's any way they could say, you're staying here permanently, but you won't have a recourse to public fund, they will actually grant them ILR. It's the public fund that's the major bone of contention here.
Let me have you finished?
I'm not done. I'm not done.
Please go ahead.
Is the major issue here. So they are not calculating that from 2020, when they actually started, giving them
point-based system.
Point-based system. Yeah. They will actually calculate that by 2025, a lot of people, a lot of these immigrants in thousands, in hundreds of thousands, are going to get ILR, and it's going to be, it's going to be a heavy weight, on their
and the economy,
not just the economy, on their public
services,
public benefits, their benefit system. You understand? So they are calculating, if this number of people who pay tax and they actually use it to help their citizens, the British and all the rest, and probably helping those people on low income or people don't have jobs, then these immigrants are now having access to it. It's not sustainable. You understand?
No.
That is the problem. I know.
That's one of the part they actually look at it like, this is the part that we should either extend this ILR to 10 years, probably give them time to actually stay, so that, or probably scrape it entirely. That's why they're actually coming in here.
I will come back to this. I don't mean to interrupt you.
All right.
But it's because you are pointing this out, and Dr. Liam here has made a very strong point regarding this access to public fund and how it goes. And I know he's waiting impatiently to respond to that position.
Okay.
See, when we talk about this, I agree with you. That is what they are saying. What they are putting out is different from the true facts. Nigel Farage said it's going to cost them, when these people by next year apply, hundreds of thousands of people apply, it's going to cost them £258 billion or so. That figure has been faulted. That figure sounds like Liz Truss mini budget that has no basis in fact at the figure. So that figure has already been, faulted. Now let's bring it down home. I have indefinite leave to remain. How much public fund do I access? Dr. Eze, you have indefinite leave to remain. How much public fund do you access or public benefit do you take? We have Igbo meeting here in Glasgow, and that Igbo meeting, we're over 500 people. Is that not correct? I'm taking our own instant opinion poll. Out of that 500 people, at least I know over 300 people, their families. And none of them is on this benefit that we are talking about.
And they have indefinite leave.
Yes. Many people have been here a while. I can tell you that for free.
I don't, but that's not the majority.
No, I'm just telling you. I'm telling you that out of over 500 people, that I know 200 people. And when these people, I do not know any Nigerian who is relying on these benefits to sustain, this public fund to sustain himself. And these are very hardworking families in this UK, contributing massively to the UK economy, paying taxes, paying NI, doing all sorts, fantastic jobs here. I've said it before and I'm going to say it again. When country allow immigrants, especially Nigerians, who are very hardworking in their country, they're not doing us a favor. We are contributing to the economy very well. If you go to America, the most educated set of migrants are Nigerians. The top earners in terms of migrants, I think, after Asians is Nigerians. We are not even grouped in Africa. We are grouped on our own separate parts. So when we talk about this public fund that Nigel Farage is talking about, the problems are not the migrants. He's chasing the problem where the problem is not. I mentioned earlier on in the Office of National Statistics, UK website, 70% of people who are in universal credit are white ethnic groups. Black groups are on the 6%. The man is only just chasing relevance and wants people to remain in the media.
Yeah,
this is not their problem. The migrants are not their problem.
If I want to come in there, first, we need to put something into context. Remember, like what we have been analyzing here. What Nigel Farage has is just a policy wish. It's a wish list. It's not a policy yet, and he doesn't have the political power or the political wherewithal to implement what he says. He's just making a wish list. And like politicians do, they make those wish lists and, to garner public support towards their political movement or their political party so that they can be able to win an election. And we know that most of the politicians we know worldwide, some of the things they say during before election and even when they get into power, they don't get to implement it the way they said it. They try to water it down. So we have to put things in context here. Then when we are talking about this ILR thing, I think generally, it's not just ILR. I think it's in the UK, immigration is under attack. If I may use that word, because if you listen we are just talking about Nigel Farage, who maybe has borrowed a leave from Kemi Badenoch, because Kemi Badenoch was on it, for weeks and months, and until Nigel Farage borrowed a leave from Kemi Badenoch. And if you look at aside Nigel Farage and Kemi Badenoch, even the Prime Minister, even the current government, you see there has been a lot of things. There is this a term, Boris wave. I'll come to Boris wave as well. And there is this term of open immigration. And sometimes the British public need to understand some of the terms the politicians are using when they are saying open border, open immigration in terms of legal migration. I think they are being economical with the truth. This is my opinion, because you cannot come into the UK, from my experience, without applying, applying for a visa.
Yeah.
If you are a student, you have to apply for a student visa. If you are a care worker or a skilled worker, you have to get certificate of sponsorship, which comes from the Home Office, and you have to go through the process. You have to learn English. You have to get this and that to be able to apply to come to the UK on that note. So for legal migration, the idea of open border, open immigration, sometimes when I see politicians making that statement, I think it's an overstatement. This is my opinion. But looking at this, I was thinking that what is happening today in terms of ILR is like sending, asking a student to enroll in a course. For example, maybe Oxford University asked me to enroll in a degree course that I'm supposed to do for 3 years.
3 years, yeah.
Then after maybe midway, I've done 2 years and I'm now trying to do my dissertation to graduate. And Oxford is now telling me that first, that 3 years I'm supposed to spend on that course, for me to get that degree, I have to take another 5 years if I want to take the stance of the Prime Minister. So I have to take another 5 years to graduate, to get my degree. Meanwhile, when I came into that course, you told me that I will do this course for 3 years and I will get my qualification. So that is what, if I take the stance of the Prime Minister, like, to give an example, this is what it means. Then if I take the stance of maybe conservative leader or Reform UK leader, Nigel Farage, what it means is that I will be in that university and I will not graduate, even though the university told me I will graduate from the university within 3 years. So he's telling me now you will not graduate. So anytime you want to show your knowledge of attending this course, Economics 201, you have to come back to us and they will give you a paper, you pay a little money, and you go and show it as evidence that you have been here, and which is not the initial position when I gained the admission into the university. And again, it's just like you're in the field of playing football.
Doctor, let me help you. The honest truth is that I've had experience. There was a time I was coming into the UK and the immigration delayed me and we got into argument. I told them because I have visa, I'm entitled to come in. They said no, that you are not entitled to anything for as long as you're not a British citizen. You are not entitled. So I've had that argument with immigration. In fact, they detained me for 12 hours at the airport. So I've seen it all. But that's an aside. So in terms of immigration, you are not entitled to anything. But the problem here is that the political leaders are pandering to the populist view. Immigration is not their major problem. It's just once in a while. Some people get angry. If they see you in a neighborhood, you are doing well, you are going to your job, they'll be wondering, oh, see this guy, I know when he came here, and all of a sudden, he's bought a house, he's riding a car. You know that kind of jealousy. They start, shining their eyes. Oh, immigration has killed us. People are coming here. They've come here. They've taken our jobs. They interviewed one man. Surprisingly, he said, "Why are you not working?" He said, "Immigrants." I don't know what accent he was using. Immigrants. They've taken all the jobs. They said, "Do you have a degree?" He said, "No." "Do you have a college degree?" "No." "No university degree?" "No." "Do you have any skill?" "No." I said, "Why are you not getting the job?" No. I just came out of prison. They said, "I have criminal record." But he's blaming it on immigration. He blaming it on migrants. He doesn't have a university degree, no college degree, no skill. But the immigrants are causing the problem. So each time they rise is because the politicians, each time they want to talk about immigration, because of what maybe their conscience are telling them. But that's not the real problem. I'll tell you that. Because the immigrants are here doing a very good job. If we pull away immigrants in this country, the healthcare sector will crumble. No doubt about that.
But from what you're saying, it sounds like they are saying they don't want immigrants. Forget about the far right people. But from what we're talking about is not them not needing immigrants. The problem here is that they don't want the immigrants to have indefinite leave to remain. They want it to be renewable.
Then how that comes to what Dr. Eze is saying. How would you want somebody to be in a course perpetually?
See, let's get down to something. You understand? I'm on the side that it's their country. It's not the immigrants' country. You understand? It's just a privilege that they themselves want to. They can make policies to change. After all, this let me give, for instance, this post-study work visa that wasn't here. It was scraped off, and I think it's sometime in 2012, 2020. Yeah,
2010.
No, post-study dates back to 2006, 7, 5. Then at the time, England was giving 1 year. In 2008, Scotland was given 2 years. So they kind of synchronized this to be 2 years. Then sometime in 2009, 2010, they removed it and restated it. So it's been off and on. But go ahead.
Yeah, it's been on. That was Theresa May that actually scripted, right?
Yes.
As the Home Secretary.
The Home Secretary, they brought it back in 2021, right?
Yeah.
Now they brought it back in 2021. And people, now, I've heard statements from people who actually say, because of this, they've actually shortened it down from 2 years to 18 months. That's 1 year and 6 months, if I'm correct. Then you find people, some people talk like they're entitled, but they themselves who came in here never knew these things were not there. When some of us who actually came into this country where there was no care work visa, the 5-year, care work visa. You needed to stay here. You needed to find a way that you go back to study, or you find a way to marry a British or do any other thing to actually remain in the country. But now they actually made it in such a way by people come in here, get the care work visa, get sponsorship, and wait for the 5 years ILR, and they will keep, working on that. Let me tell you the truth is that they already know that the wages they pay the care work visa people on that route is quite low. There is no way that they will get the ILR, that they will never have heavy burden on the public funds. They will definitely have, because they are on low wages.
So is it the fault
So-
of the immigrant
Wait,
or the
allow
fault
him
of
to-
the
It
government?
has
Allow
nothing,
him.
it's not the fault of the immigrants with
Okay.
that. You understand? I'm trying to tell you. But you know, before that, some of these jobs, the care workers, before they start giving sponsorship, it was mostly the EU
Mhm.
guys that were actually coming here, the EU people, immigrants coming here. And these EU people, whenever they do this job, they don't have recourse to public fund. So they just come in here, do the job. So they want to maintain that system. That's why they're deliberating whether the ILR is going to be, whether the ILR itself is going to remain, or whether they will actually not give it to them.
Well,
So,
that statistics about
but-
EU not having access to public fund, I could remember back days when they were doing this analysis. Actually, the highest claimant, apart from British people, are people from the EU countries. Just to put that in the record.
Let me
Wait,
also
wait, you say that they were
claim.
claiming public fund, they were actually
The
getting that while they were
yes.
working here?
Yeah, from the EU, yes.
From the EU.
Yeah,
Mm.
aside the British, the highest population is the EU who were claiming public fund.
Okay.
It was there on the, if you go to BBC, I think it was on the BBC.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Okay.
let me.
Okay.
Are you done?
I
Okay,
wanted you
go
to
on.
address what Doc
Yes, what he said.
With, I want you to bring in. I want to bring in this idea of Boris wave. Because I know you are responding to that, and what we have been saying here resonates to what the politicians of today are calling Boris wave, and I want you to use that to respond to what Doc is saying.
Okay. Let me start with what I wanted to say. Doc, you said it's a privilege. I've said it before. They are not doing migrants a favor. We are the one working for them, contributing, making positive contribution to the economy. If we are not of any value to them, we are not going to. They wouldn't let you be here. It's just like saying that your employer is doing you a favor. That means you don't know your value. He's paying me for the value I'm providing for him. Secondly, you talked about when the people who are on current visa now qualify for ILR, it's going to be a burden on them
Yeah,
because they are on low wage.
they're on low wage, so they're
Good.
going to have access to public
Public
funds
fund.
and all the
Good.
rest.
I totally disagree with you completely, wholly and entirely. I disagree with you.
Okay. How do you disagree?
Well, how I disagree is that no matter, there's a minimum wage in this country. No, even if you're on that barest minimum wage, it is better than access to public fund.
You know the public fund. You only mentioned. Well, in the UK here, Scotland, for instance,
Yeah.
they receive. If you put into perspective the Scottish child payment.
I haven't finished, so.
You put into perspective the HMRC child benefits.
Okay.
And aside, before you now actually bring the universal credit, which encompasses the housing allowance, the tax credit, and the child tax credit, merged in one, then they now calculate based on the wages. You find that it's much higher, because I did this math before when you say that Canada receives more benefit than that. But but that's for people in England. But if you bring down to Scotland, Scotland receives far higher than all of them. If you bring in the Scottish child payment, I've done this math before. If you like, you could go do this math. Now, the universal credit is one aspect. Maybe that's the angle you're looking at, maybe with their wages. But you see, the Scottish child payment and the HMRC child benefit is fixed. So probably if some of these migrants, if you're looking at it from the scope of Nigerians are doing very well for themselves. You cannot say that for other migrants from.
No.
I don't want to be like I'm attacking some people from the Middle East, but I've seen most of them who can speak English here, who probably seeking asylum here and probably doing some stuff. They're actually not working from the husband to the whole family, and they're all sitting down on benefits themselves. And if some of them do that, you are not talking about just the immigrants. You're talking about a whole family. There could be family of 7, because they themselves don't have fewer families. So if they themselves are on work visa and they came in here alone, maybe a couple, and that's okay, maybe they could have now you're talking about, when you're talking about public fund, you're not talking about the people, the immigrants working. Don't look at that figure of we gave job to 50,000 people. Once they open the net for for public, it's going to be the whole family. So you're going to be looking at the family of 5, 7, thereabout, and that means more money to be dished. That's the angle they are looking at.
Okay,
so that's
let me address that point.
Here.
Doc, what you have to bear in mind is that on this issue of public fund, access to public fund and ILR and what they pay you, you cannot outsmart the government. No matter what they pay you, it can never be more than somebody who is working and earning minimum wage. Even the best, I don't know what the minimum wage now is. Is it £9
It's
something per
about
hour?
12
pounds.
pounds something.
If you are doing a job that they are paying you basic minimum wage of £12, it will be higher than somebody who is sitting at home collecting benefits.
If you earn that minimum wage, you won't be eligible for even benefits.
No,
good. That's
someone sitting at home getting benefits definitely gets very, very low amounts. Yeah, we know that. But if you add it, if you're working, I know there's a benchmark for universal credit itself. Even if you don't receive universal credit at all, maybe your wages like household income is like £4,000.
Yeah.
Give an instance, the little money that comes in from the child benefit system, the Scottish child payment and the benefit adds to your wages as well. So it's some little money, and it's not only the payment. There are also some privileges.
Yeah,
they actually enjoy. You understand? Like I some people who do go to register to the gym, they do get concession if you actually have. I'm just giving the privilege they do actually get. So
let me finish my point. The thing is that I'll say it again. No matter the minimum, if you are on the last ladder of the minimum wage of the work you are doing, say cleaning, you make more money than somebody who is on public benefit.
That is if the person is working steadily, is employed.
But let me finish.
You've seen situation whereby they fall out of jobs. There used to be a time where there is maternity leave, they are not working. You find that that's where the public
if I may,
actually comes. I would
allow Doc to.
The thing is that now I made this point at the beginning. That in our meeting, Igbo meeting, we have over 500 people, and I don't know anybody who is on that benefit. Migrants are very ambitious and hardworking people. You could have a very minimal number who want to be on benefits for some reason or the other. But I'll tell you that percentage is less than 10% of the migrants who come to this country. Even when you mentioned some.
You mean for those who have ILR already, the migrants? Or are you talking about migrants in general?
Migrants in general, even
definitely. We're looking at migrants who have gotten ILR.
Good.
Every migrant who has gotten ILR, all their kids are on benefits.
Yes, I don't think so. Even
all their kids are on benefits.
There are British citizens whose kids are not. But we cannot.
How many migrants have that high wage of 50,000-60,000 per annum? Not much people have that. Most of them are doing care jobs, and care jobs don't pay you up to 30,000 per annum.
Can I talk? Can you allow me to talk?
Sure.
When you look at this benefit that we are talking about, they stop paying this benefit when the child turns, is it 16 or what?
Yes,
16
years old. How much are they paying per child? I'm telling you from experience.
No.
And to cross that threshold of £60,000 is very easy. A household where a man is doing a job, in fact, when you are doing the barest minimum job, you're almost on £25,000. Is that not correct?
Yes.
£25,000. And the man, maybe the man or the woman, another partner is doing another job of £30,000. That's 60,000.
After tax and everything.
What they calculate is the gross. Not what you go home with.
They do calculate.
Let's look at it.
It's not the gross. Let me get it wrong. Let me get it right here. They don't calculate gross for.
Well, we don't know how they calculate.
It is the net. It is the net income. Let's get that right. You understand?
Right. So benefit is not
the net income. Depending on that.
Our topic for today is not about benefit. We are looking
at the ILR.
On ILR.
But it is the bone of contention here. ILR. Why are they refusing immigrants from getting ILR? No, just picture it here. They can't. If they are living permanently without having access or recourse to public funds, definitely they will not be telling them to go and renew.
Look,
I'm trying to drag them away from that. That has been why the argument. They don't. It's not that they hate benefit. They hate immigrants from staying here. They just don't want immigrants to have access to their public fund. They just want to live for Britons alone. That is just the only thing I'm seeing here.
I agree with you. That is the picture they are putting out. That's the message they are putting out. But the truth of the matter is that these benefits, it turns out to something insignificant compared to what these migrants are contributing to the economy. And we talked about Boris Wave. What is this Boris Wave? Healthcare crisis. There were no people to do the care job, no nurses, no healthcare assistants. They needed people to come and help the economy. He opened the economy. like I said, they're not doing you a favor. They're not doing migrants a favor. Each time they need people, they open the door. People will come in to solve their problem. And they feel that healthcare crisis is now under control. They've now started singing another tone. When you talk about immigrants, you mentioned earlier on some people who don't even speak English, they are not working. Some people have claimed asylum, and by virtue of their status, they are not legally allowed to work. But we have stories and news of those people going out to work with other people's papers.
Yeah.
To tell you how eager they are able to work. If they are allowed to work legally, they will contribute to the economy. You know, some of them going to use other people's name, doing this backhand job where they pay them cash, these delivery jobs and so on. These are people claiming asylum. So to tell you how eager they are willing to work to contribute to the economy. So what the politicians are, I agree with you, this is what they are trying to say, that because of the pressure, if we give them indefinite leave to remain, they will start accessing public fund and so on. But they are not telling us what these migrants are contributing to the economy. So what they are putting out,
nobody's denying they are not.
What they are putting out, I agree with you. That's what they are putting out, but that's not the true facts, and that's not the true.
Okay, what is the true fact here?
The true fact is that the migrants are contributing greatly to the economy.
We know that. So what's the major fact that why they don't want them to get indefinite leave to remain? They are not trying to talk about that. We're not trying to talk about they don't want migrants to work or to live here. They are looking at the angle whereby even if they qualify from having ILR, is there anything they can do to actually not make them get public fund? That's why they're trying to say, live here and work for us, keep paying tax, do not have access. Yes, forever. That is their mission. That's why they are putting the opinion. They're asking people, can we scrape off the ILR for other people? Because they think that, if you give all these people ILR, the money will not be enough to go around for most of us who are doing this. Some of these councils are going to shut down. They're going to get bankrupt. It's the argument I'm seeing online.
Can I give us a bit of direction? Yeah, because when we're having this conversation, it also resonates on like the current affairs, the information, the news, and all these things. And I get to understand that there are people with ILR, they don't have access to public fund. There are people that have
it's ILR. Your choice.
Well, there are people that have ILR and they have restriction on recourse to public fund. I am aware of that, and it's on record. People can go out there and read it, but we need to know about all these things. And when you're talking about contribution to the economy, like for example, let's look at a student. Let's create a scenario with the life of a student who came into the UK through the study route, because the government sometimes they kind of cherry pick on this on this subject, and without giving us the bigger picture so that we understand the rudiments of the problem. Take, for example, the life of that student who came in on a student visa. This student paid more than times 5 of what a British citizen pays as school fees. Some British citizens pay as much as about £3,000-4,000 in school fees.
Very less.
And some pay up to 9,000 though. But majority of the international students pay their school fees start from 17, 20, 25,000. School fees they pay. So they pay times of what the British students pay in the same course in the same university. They are contributing. What is government doing with all this money? Now, we are talking about recourse to public fund, part of which is the use of the NHS. And we know that all these migrants we are talking about today that are going to qualify for ILR, which give them access to unrestricted usage of the NHS. For the 5 years they've been here, they've been subjected to at least £1,000 fee every year for the 5 years to use the NHS. They are also contributing with all this money, because when we hear about Boris Wave, people coming in, they said it's about 3.something million people that came in through. Imagine that all these 3.something million people came in through the legal migration route. Student, care worker, skilled worker. They have contributed billions upon billions more than the figure that Nigel Farage is presenting, which is highly disputed, right? What is the government doing with this money?
Doc,
Could they not fix the public services so that the British people will have easy access? Because if you see people demonstrating against immigration, if you listen to them, there is a genuine concern. People who go to the A&E, they are spending 12 hours, 8 hours, because the government is not expanding on the public services.
Doc, let me address that.
All right.
You see, when you talk about the contribution coming in as a student here, I'll give you a practical example. You know, I like I said, I've seen it.
Sorry, I'll point this out while you continue. They are not only paying school fees, high school fees, IHS. They are also paying for visa fee. They pay flight ticket. They come in here. They rent. They work. They pay tax. They contribute to the NI. They don't have access to public fund. Why they make all these contributions? So
let me give you a practical example of the amount of money migrants bring into this country.
I need to know.
You need to know. In 2008, when I started my program in University of Aberdeen, my immediate younger brother was doing his program in University of Aberdeen. My wife was doing her program, University of Central Lancashire. One of my classmates was doing a master's program in Robert Gordon University. 4 of us are lawyers. When I came into Aberdeen, my wife moved from England to come to Aberdeen to join us. At that time, my younger brother, who came before me to the UK, rented a 2-bedroom flat. I was in one room with my wife, and he was in another room with our other friend. These are 4 Nigerians. We are paying £8,000 per year for the courses we're doing. So in one 2-bedroom flat,
32,000.
we are bringing £32,000 per year. Does that give you an idea?
That was nearly 20 years ago.
Yes. Does that give you an idea of the amount of money we brought in? At some point, we started working, and we are paying taxes, pumping money into the economy. As a joke, one of my friends said, I told him, he said he wants to go back to Nigeria then. I think when he finished his program, I said he wants to go back to Nigeria. But the only thing he wants to do is that he wants to save all the school fees he paid. Once he saves it, he can now go back and make sure that he has a cover. I told him that means you're not going to leave Britain because you're not going to save it. And he's still in the UK up till now.
Because he's still working, he's paying tax and all that.
He's still paying tax. So he has moved from paying school fees and paying tax now. So he's still in the country. Now, on the issue of the stress the social services, NHS, and so on are passing through is because the politicians are not doing what they're supposed to do.
I do agree with
They're not expanding. They're not training enough doctors. They're not training enough nurses. They are better off going to Nigeria or going to India or Bangladesh to hire already trained one whom they are going to pay a cheap labor. You know, so they always want to get things cheap. They don't want to. It's a case of we want. We don't want to give you anything, even for your effort. For you now, if you make an application, if your child or any of your relatives makes admission to study medicine in this country, it's almost like a cow passing through the eye of a needle before he gets that admission. They're not training people. And when they train these people, they're not paying them well enough. Do you know how many professionals that have gone to Canada from here? Australia is now the new thing. New Zealand, because they're not paying them well. So it's not a problem of the immigrants. The politicians want, instead of using the money, putting it into the social services, into the public services, they better giving it as contracts to their cronies and pocketing it instead of doing what they're doing, and they'll turn back to blame the migrants. Why the migrants are the ones pumping money into the economy?
Yeah, because when you said this, I remember the junior doctors were going on strike.
I hope you have evidence of documented them pocketing money. I'm not trying to say dispute that. I'm just trying to say I hope we're not saying this based on the fact that it's an assumption. You understand? Because if you talk about Nigerian politicians who don't have accountability, I can agree with it. But here, I don't know about. I'm just trying to say, just in case.
Don't we have the COVID contracts?
We
had the public domain.
The COVID is a separate thing that came one off and ended. I'm trying to talk about now. They are trying to talk about this.
If you're talking about documentary evidence are bound. You are talking of COVID,
and no one has been prosecuted.
For it, I will give you an example of this immigrant of 10 that have read most of the people that are given COS to bring in immigrants, the government allows them to pay those workers at discounted rate. So out of the 100% of what is they are supposed to be paid, they are paid 80% to bring them in. And government allows that to happen, to give them the COS, and they will bring this person. Instead of paying this person £10, you pay this person £8. 80% of the going rate.
Yeah.
Is there so there are evidences. It's
Of
not
them pocketing the money.
well. If the government is shying away from it, is the employer not pocketing the money?
No, not talking about, but you're talking about the government. You're not the
No,
employment.
I'm not talking about the government. I'm talking about the contractors. And the
It's talking
contractors
about the contractors.
they employ are their cronies. So there's no. I mean,
some of these things could be just them, being flexible with immigration, trying to get a point. But now they are actually putting a law looking into this care visa stuff. Now, probably, I'm not sure there's any rampant employment for them. Hiring foreigners
What is the
from there.
solution? What is the solution, guys? We can't just talk about the problem without solution.
The issue that my own part is this, that what I'm trying to say here is
this is not the solution. We want the solution.
Let me tell you.
We want the solution.
Yeah, you as the immigrants are not the one making the laws here.
Yeah,
if you want to make laws in a country that is not yours, you join the government and change those laws. You vote in your own MPs, you vote in people that have your own interests. No, because they themselves are not making the laws to favor you. They don't care about the immigrants. I'm not trying to dispute the fact that whatever you're trying to say, but I just want to make it clear that no matter how we complain, you understand?
Yeah.
They themselves, it's like when people start to talk about someone like Trump and all the rest. I made it clear to them that Trump is making policy that's good for the Americans. He doesn't give a damn about any other immigrant coming here. Probably this is his own country. If the UK are doing this, they are doing things they want to favor the British. You understand? They are trying to make it. They are looking for the people who are actually original British. You're an immigrant. You understand? They're trying to restrict some stuff. Work, make your money, pay tax. That's what they want. But if you want it to be like work, make tax, have access to public fund, do everything, then probably you need to start voting in your people into the member of parliament and start making rules for that, start changing it. You understand? Right. Otherwise, whatever you make it just an empty rant. All you have to do is to shift and dance. We've been here, they've been shifting the goalposts, changing the immigration stuff. At first, they scraped off post-study. They brought it back. Now, probably all of a sudden, care visa, I've never even heard about it when I came to this country. It was just here, we just discovered, because at a point people were not doing this job. It was the COVID and Brexit that made them bring it in. They actually did it. Did they do it to favor immigrants? No, they did it to favor the Brits because they are having shortage of labor. So how are we complaining like as if that, yes, now they've actually done this, they've actually done that. People just complain like as if like, you built this country for that. This is what we want. We know you actually contributed to labor, but that is just one factor of production. You don't own land, you don't own capital, you don't own management. They own everything. You only fall on that skill level, and that's where they are. So you have to make different decision for them.
I would, Doc. I believe those that have indefinite leave to remain, or those that have other leave to remain in the UK who voted in elections as early as last year, I don't know if they will agree with you or not, but I want to get...
something I want to say. If we're deliberating on this and the upcoming election, reformers made themselves know that if they get into power, that this is what they're going to do.
So people have the choices.
You have the choice not to vote for them. Okay. That's what I have to say. If you don't want it to happen, don't vote for them. It's clear. That's the solution. You understand? That's what I want to say.
No, I'm going to agree with you on the first time with this panel on what you said.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's their country. And our people will say, oh, yeah, if you go to somebody's house, it tells you, pack your things and go home. It's doing something good to you. I agree with you. It's their country. But let them not paint us like we are their problem. That's the only place I would disagree with you. But it's their country. They're free to do whatever they want to do with it. And again, you asked about solution. Exactly. To me, the solution is the African countries, especially, to fix their country.
Oh, yeah.
And we have equal bargaining power with them. Mm-hmm. We'll be dealing with them as it wouldn't be a master-servant relationship.
Exactly.
It would be a relationship of collaboration.
Exactly.
How many times have you seen a Canadian on these streets? Do you know any Canadian living in this country?
No.
Do you know any Australian living here?
No.
because those people fix their country.
Fix their country, fix the education. We
Fix
talk
the
about
education.
immigrants
So,
coming, you're
I
paying
totally agree
high
with
amount
you.
of tuition fee,
They are-
and you're feeling entitled like,
And
oh,
they
they
are
have
not doing
spent
us
money.
favor. They want us to solve
Look,
problem for them.
they built the education.
If we fix our
So,
country
fix
and
your
go back
education,
home,
fix those things.
those things.
Government, fix those things.
They will be
Why
the
would
one
you need to be
begging
here?
us to come.
Yeah.
And we will not come.
That's
All
one of the
So-
solutions.
you would agree with me again. This is Glass Cast podcast, and we say it raw. We don't inform policies. We don't inform politics. We don't align with any movement. We are here sharing our ideas based on our understanding and the facts out there. And you would agree with us that we've had a constructive conversation this evening. And I would always encourage you to follow our page, subscribe, comment, like, engage with us. We want to get further insight. We want to further all these conversations. We want to bring out these issues that will stimulate our mindset. The concluding part today is you have seen the parties in the UK, if you live in the UK, and what their manifestos are going to be. So one of the solutions today is you make the right choices when the election comes.
Yeah.
Another solution today is we all have places we call home.
Yeah.
Let's fix our home. If you are from Nigeria, if you are from Ghana, if you are from Kenya, if you are from Pakistan, if you are from India, hold your leaders accountable.
Yeah.
Choose your right leaders. Fix your economy. Fix your country. So that nobody is saying that migration is a bad idea. Migration boosts economy. But let the negotiations be on equal basis. Not giving somebody 80% of the going rate to recruit the person to go to another country. But let's do the negotiation 100% equally. So if you are in your country supporting a bad leader, that leader that will loot your money and go and save it in Western economies, think twice and know who you vote for. And on this note, I want to say a very big thank you to Dr. Liam, as we always do.
Thank you so much.
And
thank you.
to the double dog.
Thank you,
Yes.
double
I
dog.
want to say thank you for your contribution to this discussion.
Thank you.
Dr. Let me have a handshake with
thank
you.
you.
Thank
It's,
you.
you are doing a very good job for Glasscast.
Oh, thank you very
much.
Welcome.
Thank you. And to our crew, we want to say a very big thank you. And to you out there who have been engaging with us, we want to say you are the reason we're here. And we're going to continue to bring interesting episodes that will stimulate your thinking. Thank you for being with us, and enjoy the rest of your day. From all of us, we are saying bye for now.